Good evening. You're watching TDM Talk Show. There has been a recently launched exhibition which features 25 big sculptures. It has different colorful and artistic designs made by local artists. It is part of the Macau Chinese New Year Street Art Fest, combining contemporary art and the traditional Chinese culture of Macau. The exhibit, called Anno, derived from the Latin word which means Year of the Pig, will be on display between June 25 and July 25 in Namwan Lake and Tapsec Square. Let's know more about this project. We are now joined by Anno Project's curator Mica Costa Grande and this year's winner Dan Sicado to know more about the project. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to TDM Talk Show.
Good evening.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about the Anno project itself. What is it exactly? Could you give us an idea, and why did you guys come up with such a project? I know this is the 5th edition already.
Yeah, it is. In 2014, in fact, we came back to Macau after a while. We lived here before, and I came up with this idea of mixing contemporary art with traditional Chinese festival. So animals, painting animals on the streets is something quite common. And because it changes every year, the animal in Macau, I think it adapts pretty well to the situation.
This was organized by an association, but it is sponsored by Instituto Cultural.
Yeah, we are part of Republic of Arts, which is the association, art association from Coloane that promotes this event. And these years, has been changing during the years, but these years the ICM, it's our guaranteed sponsor.
And this is Dan's year, because it's his second time to join the exhibit, but this is his year because he won the exhibit for 2019. Could you explain why and what were the criteria?
We have been joined during these 6 years, 6 effective years, by 150 more artists. And Dan has been with us for 2 years.
Yes.
And we enjoy very much his last participation. And this year he wins the prize that popular jury chose, yeah. And it's, for my part, I enjoy very much what he does.
So Dan's artwork, Dan Sicado's standout work at the event, focuses on the issue of trash and climate change. So we are going to show some photos of his art piece. But could you please explain why and how did you come up with this project?
Basically, in the beginning, I was thinking of a concept. When I was thinking of a concept and material, I thought of I saw so many trash here in Macau that just it's unnecessary. We see furnitures, we see industrial waste that could be turned into something else, could be given a new life, and hence the material concept of the sculpture is made of trash. And as for the aesthetic concept of it, it's you know the saying, when pigs can fly.
Right.
So using trash as a sculpture is not really impossible. What is seemingly impossible right now is saving the planet, hence when pigs can fly. But that's the reason why, if I can make a sculpture that would depict that a pig can fly, then maybe we can start doing our part in saving the planet.
And how was the process? How long did it take you to finish it, starting from collecting from the beach of Chokwan?
I started a long time ago collecting small pieces of like gears, cogs, tubes, a long time before I was given the sculpture.
Okay.
When the sculpture came and it's time to assemble, I think we were given about less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
About
a week. Yeah.
Yeah,
about a week.
About a week to complete the artwork. So I had to, because I haven't seen it in 3D yet, like the real life. So I had to reevaluate my concept and work on it every night after work. Spend about 2-3 hours, and on my day off, I would spend a few hours to work on it. So yeah, most likely 2 days.
Right. So you've been here in Macau for more than a decade, but you're originally from the Philippines.
Yes.
Are you working here as an artist, or this is part of your hobby?
I'm working here as a designer for the Venetian.
Right.
We under entertainment, and we do a lot of crazy stuff like this. So something like this is a hobby and something that I enjoy doing, and stress relief.
Right.
Yes.
That's really cool. Well, we're showing photos of your artwork and how you managed to do everything, like from the blueprint itself, we're showing it on the screen. So first, tell us about the artist. I heard that Dan is the only foreigner, I mean, not from Macau originally. Tell us about the artist, the other 24 artists.
They are from 8 different nationalities, all residents of Macau. And most of them are from local Chinese community.
Wow.
Some from the Portuguese community. And we have North Americans, Brazilians, Filipinos, Angolan.
Very
So
diverse.
we have a very diverse. In fact, we think it is a kind of present of foreign residents
That's very
to
nice.
the local community, in fact.
That's pretty cool. So both the artist and the organization are working voluntarily.
Yes.
Right. You've stressed it for our Portuguese colleagues.
Yeah.
Yes. For Dan, what inspires you and what inspired this piece of or idea?
I mean, inspiration can be taken anywhere, right? It's just up to you how would you express it. And sorry, walking home after work every night, I don't know if you're experiencing sofas being discarded, some really...
To the laptop.
Yes,
all laptop.
it's just because here in Macau we just discard furnitures and materials, toys, electronics so easily like that, without thinking that we could still use it, just a few stitches here and there, maybe a few nails, a few glue, and it's workable. It's not as pretty as when you first bought it, but it's still a sofa. It's still usable. People would, anyways.
Yeah.
That's what.
How did you start making art, and do you believe that, or what was your biggest surprise during the project? I'm just gonna jump into the next question,
right.
just to highlight it.
Looking at the 25 sculptures, which is a lot of them are really great. I like the iguana, the looking back at you, or the eyes.
Yes.
The I Love Mondays. There's so many great. Nelma's sculpture with her trash sculpture taken from the Haxa from the beach. There are a lot of amazing sculptures out there. That's why I was really surprised that everyone, that I won. That's the biggest surprise that I won, because I think everyone should have won.
There are a lot of interesting pieces as well.
Yeah.
For you, Mica, what are the obstacles to making public art? I know you're an artist yourself, and we're not just going to focus for Mica as the curator of Anno project, but as an artist.
There's a kind of bipolar, at least perhaps a little bit schizophrenic situation on art, is that the richest you get, the more famous you get, your work is overwhelming the whole planet. And if you are a not so famous artist, it's very hard to finance your projects. So in our case, it's more easy for an international artist to park an animal out there on the outer harbor and be well paid for that. Then 25 artists and 4 people mainly on the organization to finance a project which really is not very expensive, you know. So we struggled with financing from the 3rd year on, because before we're lucky to have one casino sponsoring us on the financial part. On the other hand, we are by ourselves now. A lot of efforts from everybody. Like we have the sculpture made by a sculptor, Eloy Carva. We have the coordination made by Sofia Salgado. We have all the rest, design and all which we need to do by Saskia Salgado and myself. We are 4 people. And artists are 28 this year because some pigs were done by 2 people.
Right, okay.
All that is always a struggle. They have only 1 week because we couldn't wait anymore
Really
for
a
others.
tough one. 1 week.
We could not afford because the organization was supposed to, like the MGTO last year, the tourism department last year was our sponsor. This year we couldn't wait anymore for their paperwork. So we need to start right away, even putting money from our pockets and start it, you know. And if not, we'll be in the end of the year. This you know, it's like we are already a few months from Chinese New Year.
Of course.
And
so one of the trouble here is bureaucratic situation about, you know, perhaps people are willing to sponsor us, but completely out of the timing that we need.
Are you trying to shy away from casino sponsorships?
We had a little mess in this year because of that, and also because...
For 2017?
2017, yeah.
Okay.
So the Rooster was cancelled because we have our studio completely destroyed.
Completely unacceptable.
Yeah, but really because we are in front of Aksa beach, which is really where the thing went hitting hard.
The eye of the storm.
So we're already delayed in that time because other trouble. So we didn't follow suit with the Venetian just because some aesthetics troubles too, you know, like for this Rooster they want us to do a Phoenix.
Okay.
And I was like, no, but it's nothing
like
to
no
do
freedom
with
in terms of like
no,
the
a lot of pressure, some pressure, and we were in this situation of being, you know, nice to our sponsor as we should be, but in other end we don't want to twist it our goals, and our goal is really the Chinese New Year animal. And plain,
right?
Absolutely plain for them to work on it. If you start to make fantasy on the sculpture itself, you end up interfering on the work of these great people, you know.
Right.
So yeah, we are much happier now. Even with 1 week time, people has been done.
That's stunning artwork.
Stunning.
For 1 week.
You know, everybody's so pleased. The new guys this year came to me with tears on his eyes. Even with 1 week work, he could do something exceptional, and he got 2nd prize. One of the guys that just started this year. Of course, then we knew that something nice will come from him. But some others, we are a little in doubt, and those new ones came with stunning results.
Works. How important are these projects to an artist like you then?
It's very important for experience and exposure. But personally, I take this project just because it's fun, and it just, like I've said earlier, it just releases stress. You know, when you work on art and something that you're not pressured to, like you say,
to finish right away.
Yes, that's also, which is part of the challenge. Yeah, the time constriction.
Beating the deadline.
Yes. Yeah. That's what makes it fun too, and just having
artists work nicely under pressure usually.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
If I have 6 months, I think for 4.5 months, and I do it in 2 days.
You execute it in 2 days. Let's say.
Because the idea is very important, not only the work itself. Yeah. And if you have a good idea, you also get good ideas how to solve your problems. You know, you are quick getting to the point. If you have too much time, perhaps you roll yourself up and you know you can start again.
Right.
So in art, I think a little pressure is
as
healthy.
what they say, the artist's mind is really messy.
Yeah.
Is it true? Do you agree?
Sorry, can you repeat?
The artists, like what they're thinking, it's all messy because it's all art, and it's so hard to execute. But once they execute it, they do it perfectly.
No, the thing is that the mind of an artist is to do something that is surprising on one side, it's original from the other side, and that takes a kind of a gambling on your mind. we are all influenced by other artists, but we need to have our own way. And in that matter, you need a lot of mind work to sort out who you are and what you want to present. And then the hands go by itself.
Who are your influences, or what are your influences?
My background is in design.
Right.
And one big inspiration for me is Steven Turner. He's my boss. He's a great props guy, very talented guy, and he can turn anything into anything. He was the one who was guiding me during this part wherein maybe if you use this or maybe if you do that, maybe something like this, and I would consider. And he has these really great ideas. But yeah, he's one of the best and most talented artists that I've ever known. As for design part, it would be Philip Stark.
Philip Stark. So that's where you find ideas for your work these days.
Yes, ideas come just popping out
Naturally, right?
Yes, something like.
And are you working on some projects presently? Yeah.
Personal projects.
Yes.
Yes.
That you might want to share, like to give us like the teaser.
Not right now. I think it's better for it to be a surprise.
That's nice. Artists. And do you believe that sculpture is dying if it's not dead, it's dying? Do you believe that?
I don't know. I never heard about that. What I see, it's exactly the opposite. It is in this time of artificial soft things. I think sculpture will have more and more space on our lives, because we need really to get in touch with the elements. We cannot just use our brains, or we'll get a big head and small body in the hand. We're going to be very ugly. So I think human beings need to touch and to feel things on their hands. And the sculpture, I think, is pretty much alive.
Is the idea is to complete the whole zodiac? Is that it?
Yes, it is.
The whole idea.
Yes, it is.
What were the challenges that you've encountered and you've solved this year that you think would be better, and like lessons learned from this year that you'll make it differently for the next year?
So as I tell you, we start with a good budget. And we could do a lot of things.
The budget was 180,000.
Yeah, these years that's all we have, and we have expenses for like, let me think, 10 times more
10 times
already.
more.
Yeah, because
Wow.
we've been saving on ourselves. It means the artists are not getting any support, financial support. The organization is getting nothing too, but we need to pay extra costs like transportation, production of the animals, and storage, and that's a lot of things that we didn't secure yet. What we're going to try is to position these animals this year. Because the animals, in fact, are property of the organization and the artists. We share half of this. And what the organization is trying is to position these animals kind of leasing on restaurants,
Okay.
offices. And so let's see if we can cover the rest of the expenses and we can compensate the artists this way. But it's not sure, we recycle most of the other animals.
You recycle?
Sadly.
Because it's made of fiberglass.
Fiberglass, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what we learn is to work it without money. And before we could make big ceremonies, and we have have a lot of marketing going on, and people will know better about our work. Now we are on our own mostly. And what we also learned is that the people who stay with us, like all the artists last year and this year, do it because they like the project, because they love to work, they love their art. So we get rid of people perhaps without knowing, I'm not really sure, but some people didn't accept the last invitations because they don't feel comfortable perhaps with in these conditions. So we have our friends with us now, and every year more people join us.
Right.
And so we are a very tight group, and we're going to do it for 12 years and more, perhaps.
And also for the different communities, the Portuguese community, the Chinese community, rallying together to support projects like these are very important.
Yeah, I think on the part of the population and the reactions we see from people, especially the children and the tourists, because they take pictures in front of the animals all the time. The acceptance is really good. So what we need now is to get perhaps a little more organized for next year with more advanced, because we really want to get close to Chinese New Year again.
That's right.
Like the first 3 editions.
So
that's what we need to improve, is to try to get some support so we can produce the animals earlier.
And do you agree with that? And how do you feel when you see people taking photos in front of wings?
Yes, I agree. And it makes me happy. It just makes it more worthwhile, and that makes me push more. Maybe next year we'll do something crazier, or something with automation or lights. So with people taking interest, anytime people takes interest on your work, it always, makes your heart happy. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And since you're wearing a Barong Tagalog, which is the national costume in the Philippines, I just want to ask, how does your work comment on current social or political issues affect your art? I mean, like, is it, do you think, because you've raised the issue on environment, and are we seeing more about the other socio-economic issues, say, in your home country, in the motherland, the Philippines?
Okay. Not just in the Philippines, but there's a lot of developing nations that are using trash and reusing them as they use car tires and turn it into sleepers or shoes.
Yes.
You guys have seen that. Some are making it into chairs and tables. So there's many ways we can turn trash. Even plastic bottles in India, they're collecting plastic bottles and turning it into a raft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I saw that
Yes,
one. Pretty cool.
You've seen those. So hopefully people who reads the concept would get the message about reusing, recycling waste and reducing waste. That's all I ask. If I get one person to just lessen his or her carbon footprint for the rest of our lives, that's maybe it's a good thing. So hopefully I get the message across that trash sometimes it's not really trash.
Okay, and for the final question for Mica, how do you envision the future of arts here in Macau?
Yep. I would like just to make a reference about this recycling thing, if you don't mind. Our studio is made 80% by trash. When nice. Dan mentioned about furniture, even today I collect some furniture on the garbage. So we are in Aksa, as I tell you, in the Aksa village, which is kind of remote because people know about Ellen Garden, but they don't know there is a small village in the middle there. And our studio, for the last 3 years, we've been building our studio, Republic of Arts, out of reused trash. And I think this message is very important. About the
future. How do you envision the future of art in Macau?
I think that Macau has no other way but go into modernity. Because it's been late now for, like, if you compare Macau with the surroundings, when I get to Macau in '86, I was a young man, and I came across the border there from China. And this was a very modern place compared with Zhuhai, just Gong Bei next door. It's been, when I returned 12 years later, I left Macau, and when I came back, it's exactly the opposite. You look around, and all these surroundings develop very fast, and very modern buildings. And Macau need to follow this tendency.
This trend.
And I think, by the size and the economics, we should aim to be a kind of Singapore. And Singapore is full of art everywhere.
It's also a small city.
Yeah, so we'll try. We have a lot of projects for the future, our association and myself as an artist. I have big projects for Macau. Let's see if we can get them through and make it a very pleasant Great Bay area
initiative.
city. I mean, we can be the art city of this Great Bay project.
And we're looking forward to that. Good luck and congratulations for the
Thank you.
project, Dan and Mica.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Okay, you're more than welcome to join us again next time.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Join us again for another episode of TDM Talk Show. I'm Karen Keith.